the hidden empire of aliens living beneath Earth since the beginning of time. Long before the first human looked up at the stars and wondered what lay beyond them, Earth was already being watched. Not from the sky, but from below. Deep beneath the oceans, the mountains, and the continents, there existed a world no human history ever recorded. It was a world older than civilization, older than language, older even than memory itself. This world was not made of stone and darkness alone. It was alive. When Earth was still young, when its surface burned with fire and storms raged without end, something arrived. It did not come in shining ships or with loud thunder. It came silently, slipping through space and time, choosing Earth as its refuge. These beings were not conquerors. They were survivors. They were the Aethern, an ancient alien species whose home star system had collapsed in a cosmic disaster. Entire galaxies were torn apart, and their empire, once spread across thousands of worlds, was reduced to nothing. With only a few remaining vessels and fading technology, the Aethern searched for a place to hide, to heal, and to endure. Earth was perfect. It was young, unstable, and dangerous, but it had something rare, a deep, hollow interior rich with energy. The planet's core produced powerful magnetic fields and strange radiation that the Aethern could use to power their technology. More importantly, Earth was ignored by other advanced civilizations. It was small, quiet, forgotten. So the Aethern did not land on the surface. They went down. They drilled into the planet using machines that bent matter itself. They carved vast chambers beneath the crust, sealed from heat and pressure by invisible shields. Oceans of molten rock flowed above them, unaware that an empire was being born below. And thus, the hidden empire began. For millions of years, the Aethern reshaped the underground world. They created glowing cities lit by artificial suns. Rivers of energy replaced water. Towers of crystal and metal stretched through caverns larger than any surface city would ever become. Their technology merged with Earth's natural forces, making their empire almost impossible to detect. Above them, Earth slowly cooled. Oceans formed. Life began. The Aethern watched everything. They observed simple cells dividing in the oceans. They watched plants crawl onto land. They saw reptiles rise and fall. Dinosaurs walked the surface while entire alien cities thrived just kilometers below their feet. And the Aethern did nothing. They had learned from their past mistakes. Their old empire had fallen because they interfered too much with younger worlds. This time, they chose silence, observation, patience. When the asteroid struck and wiped out the dinosaurs, the shockwaves traveled deep into the planet. The hidden empire felt the tremor. Buildings shook. Energy systems flickered. For the first time in millions of years, the Aethern feared discovery. But the surface fell silent again. Life returned. Then came humans. At first, humans were insignificant. Small, fragile creatures struggling to survive. But the Aethern noticed something different about them. Humans adapted quickly. They learned faster than any species the Aethern had ever studied. Their curiosity was dangerous. Fire appeared on the surface. Then tools. Then language. The Aethern Council gathered in the deepest chamber of the Empire, a place known as the Core Hall. Ancient leaders, some over 1,000,000 years old, debated humanity's future. Some believed humans should be guided, gently steered away from self-destruction. Others warned that contact would doom both worlds. In the end, secrecy won. The Aethern erased all traces of their presence near the surface. Tunnels were collapsed. Sensors were hidden behind layers of rock and electromagnetic distortion. Earth would remain unaware. But humans kept digging. Caves were explored. Mines grew deeper. Strange sounds were heard underground. Lights were reported in the depths. Entire expeditions vanished without explanation. The Aethern responded carefully. They used memory-altering fields to erase encounters. Humans who came too close were returned to the surface, confused, unable to explain what they had seen. Over time, these events became myths. Stories of underworld gods. Legends of demons. Tales of hollow earth. Religion was born. The Aethern watched as humans created civilizations. They saw wars, empires, and destruction. They observed how easily humans turned against one another. And slowly, a terrible realization formed within the hidden empire. Humans were becoming too powerful. By the 20th century, humans had split the atom. Nuclear explosions shook the planet's crust. The Aethern sensors screamed warnings. For the first time since their arrival, the hidden empire faced a threat from the surface. Humans were not just curious anymore. They were dangerous. The Aethern Council knew the Age of Silence was ending. Either humanity would destroy itself, taking Earth with it, or the Hidden Empire would have to act. And beneath the Earth, ancient machines that had slept for millions of years began to awaken. In the year 1971, a drilling operation in Eastern Europe went deeper than any before it. Officially, it was a scientific project meant to study Earth's crust. Unofficially, it was a race between superpowers to reach the deepest point on the planet. No one involved knew how close they were to the greatest secret in Earth's history. As the drill descended, temperatures rose beyond expectations. Pressure sensors failed. Rock formations stopped behaving like rock. Instead of cracking, the stones seemed to bend, almost as if it were alive. The scientists argued. Some wanted to stop. Others pushed forward. Then the drill broke through. What lay beyond was not molten rock. It was empty space. The drill dropped suddenly, falling through a hollow chamber so vast the instruments could not measure it. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then the cables went tight again, as if the drill had landed on solid ground far below. When the cameras came online, the control room fell silent. The screen showed light. Not fire. Not lava. A soft blue glow stretched across an endless cavern. Towering structures rose in the distance, smooth and geometric, unlike anything on the surface. Lines of light moved through the air like rivers. Shapes floated, silent and deliberate. Someone whispered, "This isn't possible." The feed cut out immediately. Alarms blared. Power systems overloaded. Within minutes, military officials ordered the site sealed. The official explanation later would claim a system failure and structural collapse. All records were classified. The world moved on. But one man did not. Dr. Emil Varga, the lead geologist, could not forget what he had seen. For weeks afterward, he dreamed of the blue light. He heard voices speaking in a language that felt older than thought. He began to draw symbols without understanding why. The Aethern had noticed him. Unlike other humans, Emil's mind had not rejected the brief contact. Instead, it had opened. The Aethern Council debated what to do. Erasing his memory entirely risked damaging his mind. Leaving him alone risked discovery. They chose a third option. Contact. One night, while Emil slept, the walls of his room shimmered. Gravity softened. The air grew warm and electric. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in his bed. He stood in a vast chamber beneath the earth. The city around him glowed with blue and gold light. The floor beneath his feet was smooth and warm, responding to his presence. Tall beings surrounded him. They were humanoid, but taller, slimmer, their skin shimmering like polished stone. Their eyes held no whites, only luminous patterns that shifted as they moved. Emil tried to scream, but no sound came out. A voice entered his mind, calm and deep. "Do not fear. You were chosen because you can listen." The Aethern explained everything. They showed Emil Earth's true history. He saw their arrival billions of years ago. He witnessed the rise and fall of their empire across the stars. He learned how they hid beneath Earth, guiding evolution subtly, ensuring the planet remained stable. They showed him the future. Cities burning. Oceans rising. Skies filled with weapons. Humanity destroying itself in fear and greed. Then they showed him another path. A future where humanity survived, but only if guided. Emil was told the truth that no human had ever heard. Humans were not entirely natural. Long ago, the Aethern had altered early primates, enhancing their intelligence just enough to create a species capable of growth. Humanity was, in part, their legacy. This knowledge broke Emil. When he returned to the surface, days had passed. Officially, he had suffered a mental breakdown. His career ended. His work was dismissed. But Emil began to speak quietly to certain people, scientists, philosophers, and leaders, those who would listen. And they listened. Unbeknownst to the world, a network began to form. Governments made strange decisions. Technologies appeared decades ahead of schedule. Cold wars ended without explanation. Disasters were narrowly avoided. The Hidden Empire was no longer just watching. It was shaping humanity's fate. But not all Aethern agreed. A faction within the Empire believed humans were a threat that could not be controlled. They argued that humanity would eventually discover the truth and turn against their creators. To them, the solution was simple. Erase humanity. Deep beneath the earth, ancient weapons powered up. Machines capable of triggering earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and magnetic storms were brought online. The Hidden Empire stood on the edge of civil war. And humanity, unaware of the war brewing beneath its feet, moved closer to the day when silence would finally break. The first sign that something had gone wrong came as a sound. All across the world, people reported hearing a deep hum rising from beneath the ground. It was not loud, but it was constant. Some felt it in their bones. Others described it as the planet itself breathing. Scientists blamed shifting tectonic plates. Governments dismissed it as mass imagination. The Aethern knew the truth. The resonance engines had been activated. These machines were older than Earth's surface life. Built during the height of the Aethern Empire, they could manipulate gravity and seismic forces on a planetary scale. If fully powered, they could fracture continents, drown cities, and reset the surface of the world. The extremist faction, calling themselves the Purifiers, believed Earth had become a failed experiment. To them, humanity was unstable, violent, and unpredictable. They argued that wiping the surface clean would give the planet a chance to evolve again, under stricter control. The council was divided. While the leaders argued in the core hall, something unexpected happened on the surface. In a small coastal town, a child remembered. Her name was Olya. Olya was 9 years old when the earthquake struck. It was mild, barely strong enough to knock over shelves. But when the ground shook, Olya saw something no one else did. For a moment, the air tore open like thin paper. She saw light below the ground. Not fire. Not darkness. A city. That night, Olya dreamed of tall beings with glowing eyes. They spoke without words. They showed her stars, spirals, and deep blue worlds. When she woke up, she did not forget. The Aethern were alarmed. Normally, human minds rejected direct contact. Memory filters erased encounters within hours. But Olya's mind was different. Her brain synchronized naturally with Aethern neural frequencies. She could remember everything. For the first time in millions of years, a human was immune. Sensors tracked her constantly. Some Aethern wanted her erased immediately. Others believed she was proof that humanity was evolving in unexpected ways. Dr. Emil Varga was summoned again. He had aged quickly since his first contact. The knowledge he carried weighed on him. But when he saw Olya through the observation field, he felt hope for the first time in decades. "She can hear you," Emil said. "That means we're not alone anymore." The Aethern allowed Emil to meet Olya in a controlled chamber beneath the earth. Unlike before, Olya was not afraid. She looked around with curiosity, not terror. "Why are you hiding?" she asked simply. No human had ever asked that. The question shook the council. Through Olya, the Aethern learned something they had never understood about humans. Humans did not just fear the unknown. They wanted to understand it, to connect with it. But the Purifiers had already begun their plan. Across the planet, strange events intensified. Volcanoes showed signs of awakening. Magnetic storms disrupted satellites. Animals migrated erratically. Ancient fault lines stirred. Human scientists grew nervous. Olya began to have visions while awake. She saw the earth breaking. She saw fire rising from oceans. She saw cities swallowed by the ground. She told Emil, and Emil told the council. The deadline had been set. If humanity could not be stabilized, the surface would be reset. In a desperate move, Olya did something no human had ever done. She reached out with her mind, not to one Aethern, but to the planet itself. The Aethern technology woven into Earth's core responded to her presence. For a brief moment, the hidden empire lost control. Systems flickered. Shields weakened. Emergency alarms echoed through the underground cities. The Purifiers realized too late that Olya was not just a human. She was a bridge. And bridges can be used by both sides. Deep beneath the earth, as ancient machines trembled and the future of the surface hung in balance, the hidden empire prepared for its first true confrontation. With itself, the Purifiers moved quickly. Within hours of Olya's awakening of the planetary systems, her location was marked as a threat. Ancient tracking constructs, invisible to human technology, locked onto her neural signature. To the Purifiers, Olya was no longer a child. She was a weapon. Deep beneath the earth, sleek guardians made of living metal detached from the city walls. They did not walk. They flowed through tunnels like liquid shadows, guided by thought alone. Their purpose was simple. Silence the bridge. The council tried to stop them, but authority within the hidden empire was fracturing. For the first time in their long history, orders were ignored. The empire that had survived cosmic collapse now faced destruction from within. Emil Varga sensed the danger before the alarm sounded. He felt it as pressure behind his eyes, a warning whispered through the alien network connected to his mind. "They are coming," he told Olya. The chamber lights dimmed. The walls shimmered as emergency shields activated. Olya felt fear for the first time since entering the Hidden Empire, but it was not fear for herself. It was fear for Earth. Above them, the planet began to react. Earthquakes rippled across continents in precise patterns, not random chaos. Storm systems changed direction unnaturally. The oceans swelled as if responding to a distant command. Scientists around the world watched in disbelief as data stopped matching known models. News channels spoke of a living planet. Religions declared the end times. Governments panicked. Olya realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The Aethern technology had been part of Earth for so long that the planet itself had learned to use it. Earth was not just reacting. It was choosing. The Purifier Guardians breached the outer chamber. Their forms shifted as they moved, adapting to every defense. Emil stood in front of Olya, knowing it would change nothing. Olya stepped forward. "Stop," she said. The word echoed, not through sound, but through gravity. The Guardians froze. For a brief moment, the Purifiers felt what humans called doubt. Olya's presence disrupted their control systems. Her mind carried both human emotion and Aethern logic. She was something new. Using the planetary link, Olya broadcast a signal, not just to the Hidden Empire, but to the surface. It was not words. It was feeling. Every human on Earth felt it. A sense of being watched, not with anger, but with concern. A deep sadness mixed with hope. People stopped what they were doing. Some cried without knowing why. Others felt an overwhelming urge to protect the planet. For the first time, humanity sensed the truth. Something had always been there. Governments detected impossible energy readings from beneath the crust. Military systems failed as electromagnetic waves disrupted control networks. The Purifiers attempted to regain control, but Earth itself resisted. Volcanoes that were meant to erupt fell silent. Fault lines locked. The planet refused to be destroyed. In the core hall, the Council faced a final decision. To side with the Purifiers would mean survival through control. To side with Olya would mean risk, uncertainty, and change. They chose the child. The Purifiers were cut off from the central systems. Their guardians collapsed into inert metal. Ancient weapons powered down one by one. But the cost was high. The Hidden Empire could no longer remain hidden. The energy surge had cracked the illusion shielding the underground cities. Sensitive human instruments began detecting impossible structures deep below. Satellites recorded anomalies that could not be explained away. The age of secrecy was over. As Olya collapsed from exhaustion, Emil caught her. The Council spoke with one voice, not just to her, but to the world. "We have watched you since the beginning. We did not mean to become your gods. We only wanted to survive." Above ground, humanity stood at the edge of revelation. And beneath the earth, an ancient empire prepared to rise into the light. For 3 days, the world argued with itself. Scientists filled emergency conferences with charts that made no sense. Seismic readings showed vast hollow regions beneath the continents, arranged with perfect symmetry. Energy signatures pulsed like heartbeats deep inside the planet. No natural explanation survived more than a few minutes. Governments tried to control the narrative. They spoke of sensor errors, unknown geological formations, experimental weapons. But the data kept coming. Independent researchers confirmed the same impossible truth. Earth was not solid. Someone was living beneath it. Social media exploded. Old myths resurfaced. Stories of hollow worlds, underworld kingdoms, and ancient gods were suddenly discussed with new seriousness. People shared dreams they had never spoken about before, dreams of glowing cities below the ground, of voices speaking without sound. Olya's signal had changed something in the human mind. Fear followed quickly. Markets crashed. Militaries raised alert levels. Some leaders demanded immediate action, convinced the Hidden Empire was an invasion force that had waited patiently for humanity to weaken itself. Others argued the opposite. "If they wanted us gone," one scientist said, "we wouldn't be here." Deep beneath the earth, the Council listened. They observed humanity's reaction with something close to anxiety. They had studied humans for thousands of years, but observation was not the same as being seen. The Hidden Empire was exposed, fragile, and vulnerable. A decision had to be made. Contact. The Council debated how to speak to a world of billions without causing collapse. Should they appear as they were? Would their forms inspire awe or terror? Should they choose a single nation?
Or speak to everyone at once?
Once again, the answer came from Olya. She was weak but conscious, her connection to the planetary system still intact.
Talk to them the way you talk to me, she said softly. Not as rulers. As neighbors. Emil supported her. The first public contact was not made through ships or soldiers.
It came through every screen on Earth at the same moment. Televisions flickered.
Phones buzzed.
Radios filled with static before clearing into a single image. A calm, luminous figure appeared, neither male nor female, its features gentle and unfamiliar. Its eyes shimmered with patterns that felt ancient and thoughtful. The voice was translated instantly into every human language. We are the Aethern. We have lived beneath your world since before your species learned to speak.
The message was simple. No threats. No demands.
They explained their arrival, their fear of extinction, and their choice to hide. They admitted their mistakes. They acknowledged humanity's right to anger and fear.
They ended with a question. Can we share this world? The reaction was immediate and divided.
Some people fell to their knees, convinced this was proof of divine beings. Others screamed in fear.
Protests erupted. Celebrations broke out.
In some cities, violence followed confusion. Humanity did what it always did when faced with the unknown.
It argued. But something deeper was happening. Children listened without fear.
Scientists felt wonder. And many people, quietly, felt relief. The truth was terrifying, but it was also beautiful.
Humanity was no longer alone.
Behind closed doors, world leaders met with Aethern representatives through secure channels. The aliens did not threaten or bargain. They offered knowledge, clean energy, planetary healing, disease prevention. But there was a condition. The Aethern could not remain hidden forever.
Their systems were now part of Earth's balance.
If humanity attacked them, the planet itself would suffer.
Peace was not just moral. It was necessary.
As negotiations began, Olya looked up at Emil.
Do you think they'll choose peace? She asked. Emil didn't answer right away.
I think, he said slowly, this is the first time we get to decide who we really are. Above and below the Earth, two civilizations stood at the edge of a shared future, uncertain, fragile, and full of possibility. Peace did not come quietly. While diplomats spoke of unity and scientists dreamed of shared knowledge, fear spread faster than hope. For some humans, the idea that aliens had lived beneath their feet for all of history was unbearable.
To them, it was not survival. It was betrayal.
Extremist groups formed almost overnight.
Some called the Aethern demons.
Others labeled them parasites stealing Earth's energy.
Conspiracy theories turned violent.
The idea of coexistence became, for many, a symbol of surrender. In secret facilities, weapons were prepared. Nations that publicly supported peace secretly developed plans to strike the underground cities. Advanced bunker-buster missiles, experimental seismic bombs, and deep Earth penetrators were redesigned with one purpose: force the hidden empire to the surface, or destroy it. The Aethern detected everything. They saw the weapons through fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field. They listened to encrypted communications by reading quantum noise patterns.
But they did not respond with force.
Instead, they waited. Olya sensed the danger before the first attack. She felt it as pain, sharp and sudden, deep in her chest. The planet itself was afraid. They are going to hurt you, she told the council. They are going to hurt all of us, an elder Aethern replied.
The first strike came without warning.
A weapon was launched into a remote desert region, aimed at what humans believed was a major underground structure. The explosion shook the crust, sending shockwaves through the hidden empire.
Cities dimmed.
Energy rivers flickered.
Ancient structures cracked.
Above ground, the attack was explained as a failed test.
Below ground, it was an act of war.
The purifiers, long thought defeated, used the chaos to re-emerge.
They argued the attack proved humans could not be trusted. They seized damaged sectors and reactivated forbidden defense systems. Civil war returned to the hidden empire.
Olya was rushed to safety as systems failed around her. Emil stayed close, refusing to leave her side. They are scared, Olya said, tears in her eyes.
Both sides are scared.
As more attacks followed, the Earth responded violently.
Storms grew stronger.
Quakes increased. Oceans rose by centimeters overnight. Humanity blamed climate change, unaware that the planet was reacting to pain. The Council faced an impossible choice:
defend themselves and risk destroying the surface,
or remain passive and risk extinction.
Olya made her choice first.
She asked to speak to humanity again, not through screens, but directly.
Using the planetary network, she amplified her consciousness. This time, the message was clearer, stronger, impossible to ignore. Every human heard her voice in their mind. "Stop," she said.
"You are hurting the only home you have."
Images followed her words.
Earth seen from space.
Cracks forming beneath cities.
The underground cities glowing faintly, fragile and alive. "This world belongs to all of us," she continued. "If one of us dies, we all do."
The effect was immediate. Missile systems failed mid-launch. Some soldiers refused orders. Protests turned into demands for truth and accountability.
The attacks slowed, then stopped.
But the damage was done.
The hidden empire was wounded.
Trust was shattered.
And the purifiers, now fully armed, prepared to seize control of the core systems. Deep beneath the earth, as humanity struggled with the consequences of fear, the final conflict approached. The question was no longer whether humans and Aethern could coexist. It was whether Earth itself would survive the decision. The core of the Earth was never just heat and pressure. The planet's deepest point, far below magma and metal, existed the heart chamber, the place where Aethern technology and Earth's natural forces had fused over billions of years. It was here that the planet's magnetic field was shaped, its tectonic balance maintained, and its life protected from cosmic radiation. And now, the purifiers were taking it. They believed control of the heart chamber meant control of Earth itself. With it, they could end humanity, rebuild the surface, and restore what they saw as order.
To them, Olya was not a bridge. She was an error. The Council's forces were weakened. Systems damaged by human attacks struggled to function.
Entire underground cities had gone dark.
Time was running out. Olya knew what she had to do.
To stop the purifiers, she would have to enter the heart chamber and merge fully with the planetary network.
No human had ever done this. No Aethern had done it either. The risk was absolute.
"You may not come back," Emil told her quietly.
Olya nodded.
"If I don't go, no one does." As she was guided deeper than ever before, gravity softened. Light bent strangely. The walls seemed to breathe. The closer she came to the heart chamber, the more the planet spoke to her, not in words, but in emotion.
Pain, hope, fear, love.
The purifiers were waiting. Their leader, an ancient Aethern whose mind had hardened over millions of years, confronted Olya at the chamber's edge. "You would risk extinction for creatures who already tried to destroy us."
Olya looked at him without anger. "They are learning," she said.
"Just like you once did." The purifiers activated the core systems. Energy surged. Earth trembled.
Fault lines across the surface began to tear open.
Humanity watched in terror as the ground cracked beneath cities.
Olya stepped into the heart chamber.
The moment she touched the core, time seemed to stop.
She became aware of every heartbeat on Earth.
Every breath. Every living thing, from the smallest insect to the largest whale. She felt the Aethern cities, glowing like stars beneath the crust. She felt humanity's fear, and its growing understanding.
She made a choice. Olya rewrote the command structure.
Not domination.
Not silence.
Balance.
The heart chamber responded. The planet stabilized. Fault lines sealed. Storms weakened.
The purifier's control systems shut down, overridden by a new logic, one that required cooperation from both species. The purifiers screamed, not in pain, but in loss.
Their vision of control was gone. But Olya was fading. Her human body could not fully contain the planetary consciousness.
Emil felt her slipping away as alarms blared and systems collapsed into calm. "Did it work?"
Olya whispered.
"Yes," Emil said, tears in his eyes. "It worked." As Olya's body went still, the earth pulsed once, soft, steady, alive.
And then something unexpected happened. The planet gave back.
Energy flowed gently, shaping itself into a form beside Emil.
Olya opened her eyes. She was changed. No longer just human. No longer just a child. She was something new. A guardian.
The war beneath the earth was over. But the future above had yet to be written. The earth was quiet. For the first time in weeks, there were no unexplained quakes, no violent storms, no strange hum beneath the ground. The planet felt calm, as if it had finally taken a deep breath after holding it for far too long.
Humanity noticed.
Scientists confirmed that seismic activity had stabilized worldwide.
Climate patterns began returning to balance.
Satellites show the Earth's magnetic field smoothing into a strength and symmetry never recorded before.
Something had changed at the center of the world.
Deep beneath the surface, the hidden empire was rebuilding, not as a power above or below humanity, but as part of Earth itself. The purifiers were stripped of authority and sealed away, not destroyed. The Aethern had learned that survival through control only led to endless war.
They chose evolution instead.
Olya stood at the edge of the heart chamber, no longer fully human, yet not alien. Her presence felt like warmth and gravity combined.
She could feel the pulse of the planet at all times, gentle and steady. She was Earth's voice.
Through Olya, the Aethern spoke again to humanity, this time not in fear or apology, but in partnership. Representatives from the surface were invited to safe, controlled locations where the underground world could be seen without harm. The first human delegation descended beneath the earth. What they saw changed history. Cities of light spread across endless caverns. Energy systems that produced no waste. Technology grown, not built, in harmony with the planet's rhythms. Proof that advanced civilization did not have to destroy its home. Fear gave way to wonder. Not everyone accepted it. Some still resisted. But most people, when faced with truth instead of imagination, chose understanding. A new agreement was formed. The Earth Accord. It declared the planet a shared living system, protected by both surface and subterranean civilizations. No nation could claim ownership of Earth alone. No species would rule the other. Human technology advanced faster than ever before, guided, not controlled, by Aethern knowledge. Clean energy ended resource wars. Disease became rare. Space exploration resumed, this time with humility. And humanity changed. Children grew up knowing they were not alone. That intelligence came in many forms. That survival meant cooperation. Olya did not rule. She watched. Sometimes she walked among humans, appearing as a quiet girl with knowing eyes. Other times she existed only as a presence in the wind, the oceans, the deep places where no light reached. She was not a god. She was a reminder that the greatest power was balance. That the oldest empires could learn new ways. That fear did not have to be the final chapter. Far beneath the earth, the hidden empire was no longer hidden. And far above it, humanity looked at the planet not as something to conquer, but as something to protect. For the first time since the beginning of time, Earth belonged to all who lived on it. Together,